I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody would please silence your phones, and we are recording. And Ed is still the hot rod because he took off on that pledge like.
Well, we say it at Rotary. I do the pledge, I was in the military, so were you. And sorry about that.
All right, first up, approval of the minutes of June 14th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes of June 14th.
I'll second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Treasurer's report, authorization of the payment of the bills.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the payment of bills. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. All right, next up, the treasurer report. A long list as always.
Unless anybody has anything, I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, and now the fiscal year 2021 presentation. Take it away, Tanya.
Okay, we'll start with the sewer funds. You will see from the handouts that we had 671,000 approximately in revenue. Our expenditures actually ended up only being 553,000 as we planned a lot in reserves, and the Portland wastewater treatment plant was a little down, although it was one of the highest expenses. As a result, we were able to put 62,543 into reserves for the sewer fund, and that would be into the infrastructure. So if something breaks, we would start having money to pay for it. And again, our largest expense was the wastewater treatment plant. That was 319,000 for that.
So that says probably now that work you had done on sewer holes and all that stuff is working, so we're sending less water and description, so that's good.
Yep, and our change in rates allowed us to put money away as we planned in the infrastructure there. So the water fund is next. On this, we had 326,000 in revenue, with our expenses about 310 and another 10,000 encumbered. Our largest revenue here is the metered water sales, which is what everybody gets in their water, all the individual homes, all the businesses. We do have some also in government that makes up the difference. Out of the water fund, again, our largest expense comes into home and community, and that is basically the running of the water department. We did put some reserves. It was 25,000 in reserves went into the water. So that's an infrastructure also. So we have roughly 110,000 also in machinery. So we have enough for the van that we need someday. But Buzz is very economical and likes to make it stretch a little longer. So we don't know, it's sitting there for when it actually dies.
Squeeze it out.
So the general fund is next. So you'll see both of those made a profit. In the general fund, slightly different, but it is actually what was planned. Our total expenditures are 4,644,000 with revenue at 4.460. The difference is we paid off a RAN of 281,000, which ends up being part of the expenses. It was a debt that we took out for Route 11 purchases. As a result, we really are on, we did actually make money net of that, and we do get that money back subsequently. So within the year or a year and a half, we should be getting that back from the state. So when you come into here, our real property taxes is all collected. The difference that we don't, roughly 26,000 was reimbursed by Cortland County. Our sales tax was higher than we originally planned, but we adjusted for that, and that is what allowed us to buy the large snowplow. So we are spending roughly 200,000 this year buying the really large snowplow, and that we usually don't have a month for, but we actually were able to take it from the extra sales tax and from the budget, so no cost extra to the taxpayers and no debt. So you'll see in here, included in our revenue, why it looks higher than some years, though, at the 4 million, is because we had $1 million in restore grants. We were a pass-through. It was awarded for the projects that were done in the village and then passed right off to it. We also got 170,000 almost in ARPA funds, 758,305 in sales tax. In previous years, we were just above 600,000, so the sales tax went way up. We spent 21,000 for a police car, 125,000 went into replacements for fire trucks. We also have 8,000 left to replace a recreation van. We couldn't find one at the end of the year, so we put it into reserves for when we find a vehicle. We spent 147,926 in CHIPS funding, which covered all of our roads, so we didn't have to pay any of that were paved. Last year, we bought a smaller plow truck for 103,293. We also got a cemetery truck for 59,658 along with the van. So in the end, we were basically on budget. We actually were under budget in most things. And the only difference, like I said, is we ended up paying off a RAND just because we're waiting in process for the state to reimburse us. So, and we were able to increase our reserves because of that.
So we're doing pretty well. We're right on track, basically, sounds like.
I would like to thank Tanya, Dan, and all of our department heads for being excellent stewards and tracking everything. We couldn't-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Fantastic job. All right. Next up, cemetery report.
I'll make a motion to accept the cemetery report as written.
I'll second. Go ahead, Deb. I'll second.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, okay. Codes report.
I'll make a motion that we accept the codes report as written.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, okay. Dog control. Do a motion on dog control?
I'll make a motion that we accept the dog control report as written. Pretty light this month.
I'll second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Stray found its way home.
Well, the stray is one that I actually had her come and pick up because he barged into my house and was romanticizing my dog.
That's enough, Al.
Yeah.
I tried to figure out how to put that. Rated G. Yes. Okay. Next up, DPW. Very busy.
Phil, you got anything for us? You want to highlight?
Just absolutely just finished all the paving for the year, literally like 20 minutes ago.
Wow. Whoa.
And we do, I'll throw that in there, the new leaf sucker has arrived here. So Can't wait to try that out this fall. Hopefully it's gonna be a lot more efficient.
Hey, Phil, I've got a question for you. How much time and effort and expense is it to put in a like an ADA compliant sidewalk ramp, like they're doing, like the DOT just did a bunch, but apparently they're under the impression that we agreed to do some where they put the crosswalks by the old rec building and fire department. And I'm just kind of curious what that involves on our end.
Just gotta cut the curve. It's not a big deal.
Not a big deal.
We've done a few of them here, so.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I think we're gonna have to do that. I mean, Eric from DOT called me about it and left a message, and his point was basically, if you're gonna do it, which you should, because again, they think we agreed to it. We may have, I don't recall, but now is the time before they come through and pave and repave that. So.
Yep. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, that'll be done.
Good man. All right. I will call him tomorrow and let him know.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right.
And then Phil, I sent you an email for the bus shelter.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Pat.
And then I just want to remind all our residents that we're not doing brush pickup again until October. October. However, if there is storm damage, then put it out and we'll take care of it after the storm.
Yeah. And also maybe remind residents that while some people may think that we've decreased services here, actually, historically, it was only 2 weeks in the spring and 2 weeks in the fall. And so we've doubled that by doing it a month in the spring and a month in the fall. So that should be more than enough time for people to get their brush out. And if not, we have a compost site in the village. All right. Anything else?
Except the report is written.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, unanimous. Next up, fire department.
And those are some great pictures of the kids in the fire department at the arts program. If you guys didn't see them, I think they have them some posted on Facebook. Future firefighters right there. I'll make a motion to accept the fire department report as written.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Are we taking odds on the at the National Night Out, the fire department, HF Homer Fire Department versus HPD? Take your odds.
All right. Oh,
I do have one thing, Hal, under the fire department.
yes, sir.
So the town, and this may seem odd because I'm citing something from the town of Cortlandville, but the town of Cortlandville had their Hall of Fame back at the end of June. And they had the induction ceremony for their class of 2021, their class of 2022. They didn't do the class of 2021 because of COVID. But in the class of 2021, they inducted Jack Harvey. He was originally a member of Hose Company number 4 for Homer, which was located out in Cortlandville. And then when that station, Cortlandville, became its own station, he stayed on there. And he was the Cortland Volunteer Fire Department Charter Fire Captain from 1974 to 1981. And then he was a Charter Fire Commissioner from 1981 to 2011. 58-year fire service veteran, inducted into Cortlandville, started with the Homer Fire Department. So I just
Fantastic.
wanted to pass that along.
That's terrific. Yeah, fantastic. All right, fire inspection report. Looks like a bunch have been completed.
Quite a few of them from what we've seen in the past. This is good.
Yep. All right.
I'll make a motion that we expect the accept the fire inspector's report as written.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, okay. Next up is the police report.
I'm still impressed with 521 calls for service during the month. So. And your stops, the tickets, I think are okay. You know, well, they did 95 stops, and would be about 64 tickets, so figure that's 3 stops a day, and not everybody gets a ticket, a lot of them for taillights, stuff like that, so. Probably cost a lot of money.
I'd like to,
All good, I think.
I'd like to make a note that the chief is concerned for prisoner comfort. We're getting the new
Yes.
seat for that Explorer so that they're comfortable back there. That's nice.
I took a ride one night with one of the officers. No, he let me ride in the front seat. And he showed me the shotgun and all the stuff, just in case I had to be called up and we did the tour. And I looked in the back seat, and you don't want to ride back there. I mean, I would have been a sack of potatoes thrown in there, you know, there's just no room. So having a nice seat, well, that's, at least it wouldn't be a sack of potatoes this time. But anyhow, that's pretty nice. So hopefully nobody has to use it, or at least not very often. I'll make a motion, we accept his report as written.
Under discussion, Chief, is there anything you want to talk about National Night Out on August 2nd?
Danny's doing an outstanding job. We may have got a couple sponsors today. And I'll let you cover that.
Well, one of them is here, McNeil's is here, so they're looking at helping us sponsor. We also have First National Bank, HBA, and Suco's actually interested right now. ATT called us, so they're looking for a table. They provide phones for first responders, so they want to talk to everybody too, and they're getting a table. We also have Pebbles coming. SUNY Police at Cortland, the state troopers, there'd be demonstrations, K-9 units.
SUNY Cortland, K-9's coming.
Yep.
The DEC's coming to do a K-9 demonstration, so.
It's basically mirrored after Holiday in Homer with the carnival games, the free wagon rides, Buzz's band is playing, so we'll hear you.
Nice.
Yeah, and the Elks are gonna do hamburgers and hot dogs. We have an ad going out tomorrow and a flyer going home at the end of the week to everybody. But there's lots of tables of services and, you know, just lots of family fun entertainment, a great way to meet the first responders, but also to cheer on your favorite team to see who wins as they're competing for the first annual First Responders Cup. So they get points for each activity they win, and the winner gets to have the cup. So we'll see if Homer can take it, or right now we have Preble and Cortlandville Police here, so.
And what
This
time
is
does that
really-
start?
It starts at 4. Most of the competitions will be after 5.
This is so much bigger than it sounded when you initially proposed it, thanks to the work from the two of you.
Well,
It's really great. Yeah,
well-
they built this from
I'm
scratch.
having fun.
It's a party, she's in.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And we have another party to throw later this year, as we get to recreation next. It's our 75th year anniversary for Homer football.
Wow.
So
And just in case, so, and also this weekend at Holiday in Homer, doing Dunkin' Cop.
And that won't be it. You tried drowning me last year, it's not gonna happen again this year.
there are open spaces. I saw there were 2 that said
No,
to
we filled it. So,
I have to say, Chief, if you're not gonna be there, I just.
well, you were in line, you kept pushing the button.
Not the same.
We raised $800 last year, 700 came from you.
Just because I'm a bad shot. We have a motion, we have a second,
I have
so,
I just want one thing I wanna mention. Sunday night, Monday morning, we had a bunch of cars broken into.
Oh, yeah.
Unlocked vehicles. I just wanna remind residents to lock their vehicles. And also if they have exterior cameras, if they can check them, see if they've captured anybody, recorded anybody, give me a call.
Thanks, chief.
that's good.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, all right. Recreation. See football and cheerleading registrations open. There's going to be some basketball camp announcement coming this week. Girls volleyball camp, youth football camp, and tennis camp are all open.
Tennis actually started on Monday, so they're closed.
Oh, all of them are closed?
For tennis, yeah.
Tennis is okay.
Yeah, but the volleyball is still open. It starts next week.
What about youth football? Is that still open?
Yeah, that's, I think in August, but it's still open.
Very good.
And Stiv Morgan is tomorrow night for the concert on the green.
Yes, that looks like the case. All
I'll
right.
make a motion that we accept the rec report.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Water and sewer. Got the correlator fixed, so we're finding leaks again. That's good.
Buzz, what, to get residents to do lead and copper testing?
We're still like a few. We have enough. If you don't, then we gotta, send out some letters. Get approved by the health department, that we can take there.
So unless we get a phone call from you, we don't need to do it.
What did you you got a letter, right?
No, I don't think so.
Well, you may get one then.
Okay. That was my question.
So what are you doing? You're sending out letters to everybody to test their water for lead? Or is there a
They have to
kit
be
or
in
what do you do?
certain spots through the village that the health department wants us to check.
Oh, okay.
So if somebody can't
Spot
make it, it's
checking.
gotta be kind of like in the same area.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we accept the water report as written.
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Let's see here. Next up is privilege of the floor.
We have a robust privilege of the floor tonight. So if Fred wants to start, it's online, and then we can go to the people in the audience.
Okay, Fred, kick us off.
All right, just a couple things, Hal. The chief and I are going to meet with the architect on a conference call Friday afternoon on the plans for the police department in the town basement. The town of Scott is voting tonight on whether to participate in the hunting license thing on August 6th. And at our last town board meeting, we voted to stay open Saturdays for August, September, and October for 4 hours for the sale of hunting licenses.
Excellent. Is there anything we can do to help with August 6th?
At this point, I don't think so. I spoke with Rob at Homerman and Boys. I don't know if he's going to be doing anything, but I think we'll see how it goes this year, Hal. And I obviously, and when you and I talked, I could see it becoming something rather nice. And but one of our legislators, Kevin Fitch, you really commended the board for a place where people could go on Saturdays to get some of their town business done. So,
Yeah.
And I think it's a step in the right direction, and Heather Hill has offered to do those hours for us.
That's great. I think it's going to be a good event. I think, I think it can be built on year after year, like we talked about.
But other than that, it's been a quiet month.
Nothing wrong with a quiet month now and then.
No, there isn't.
All right. Thank you very much, Fred. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yep. All right, Dan, who's next?
Sorry, I'm reading.
Yep, it's Maria.
Maria?
Do you want me to
Yep,
pop right
if you
up
don't mind,
here?
that'd be great.
Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. My name's Maria Barreto, and I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to come here tonight and address a topic that was discussed at one of your last meetings, and that's regarding a cat population in the village of Homer. For nearly 4 years, I have been managing a colony of cats. So those that don't know, a colony is a group of free roaming outdoor cats, sometimes feral, that live together near a source of food and shelter. The location I will not be disclosing, and that's for a few reasons. One, to ensure the property owner's right to privacy. Two, to enforce safety concerns for the cats. And three, to ensure that individuals seeking to offload the responsibility of pet ownership do not abandon their animals at that location. So the most common misconception about feral cats is that they spread diseases to humans. This is an unfounded fear and not based in science. Most diseases that infect cats are spread from one cat to another, not from a cat to a human. TNR, which stands for trap, neuter, and return, is a safeguard against this, as cats are vaccinated while they're being fixed. And anyone who has ever been around a feral cat or a skittish cat knows that they avoid contact with people unfamiliar to them at all costs. So the best and most effective way to stabilize a population of cats is through TNR, again, trap, neuter, and return. So as I have mentioned, I have been managing a colony of cats for almost 4 years, and the management of the colony really consists of 3 things. One, controlling the population. So that's trapping the cats, getting them spayed or neutered, making sure they have flea treatments and worming treatments, in addition to having their vaccines. So all of the cats in the colony have been treated through CNY SNAP, which is an organization located in Portland County. And just a few quick facts about CNY SNAP. They serve 12 counties, not just Portland County. They spay or neuter approximately 70 dogs and cats each week, which is about 3,000 animals a year. They are a nonprofit that offers this service at little to no cost to the pet owners, and they rely heavily on volunteers. So all of these SNAP services have been paid for by me and my mom, which means the cats have received care by a group of veterinarians at no cost to the village of Homer. So I take care of the cats through their recovery period, and once that's completed, I release them back to their home. So the second step is really reducing the population. So that consists of trapping kittens, socializing them to be adopted, paying for FIV and FLV testing, ensuring that they receive flea treatments, wormings, vaccinations, and again, in some cases, arranging for and paying for their spay or neuter. And really the third step is colony maintenance. So that's providing the cats with fresh food and water on a daily basis. The quantity of food that is left out will be consumed within a matter of hours. Monitor the activity so that I can identify any new cats, and make sure that the cats within the colony remain healthy. So the results of this approach is that the population does not increase and that the cats in the colony again are healthy. So just to share a few of my milestones within the colony management, since 2019, I have brought 21 cats to CNY SNAP to be treated. This includes the 15 cats that remain in the colony and 16 of the 17 kittens that I found forever homes for. There have been no new cats since 2020, and there have been no litters of kittens in the last 2 years. So this approach, TNR, is successful, it's widely accepted, and it's a humane way to address cat populations. So I was fortunate that the property owner was receptive to receiving my help. And I was happy to do this. I'm an animal lover, but it was also a way to help a member of our community who has done a great deal for Homer in the last many years. So this approach is also a natural way to decrease the cat population. Colony and outdoor cats in general have much shorter lifespans than indoor cats. So within 3 to 5 years, it's very likely that these cats will no longer be living. So this approach also teaches everyone in the community, and I think especially our younger members of the community, a very valuable lesson. And that lesson is when you have a hurdle in life, you don't turn your back on it, you don't eliminate it, but you address it with kindness and compassion. So I'm extremely proud of the work that I've done within this colony because I know it's made a difference to our community. I've helped a neighbor in need, and most importantly, I've helped make a difference for the cats. So I thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I think that's great. I guess we hear things like the feral cats or killing old birds, that kind of stuff. Is that hearsay or?
Well,
I don't.
I would make a
I haven't
correction on
noticed
that.
it, so
Yeah, I would make a correction on that.
Well,
I have cats that are not feral, and they will kill moles, mice,
Oh, yeah.
squirrels, chipmunks, birds, so it's not feral cats. But if anyone here has a cat, and they happen to let it out, or if you've ever had a bat in your house and a cat has gotten it, domestic
Oh, yeah.
or feral, if they see something that they can get their paws on. they're gonna
Well, the
try.
only reason I was saying feral is because they're outside more versus an indoor cat, which goes out and makes some, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, no,
You're right, Ed. I mean, cats kill a lot of birds. Yes.
And that was one of the comments I had heard from people in the community.
We also had a lot of trouble with these cats getting into the Little White Church and doing a lot of destruction in there. So the issue is, there's so many of them and living in one spot outside that you get a lot of complaints. I mean, you didn't have to tell us where the location is. We know because we get so many complaints from neighbors. Cats are peeing in their garden, pooping in their garden, going in their garages,
I do know. Oh, sure, go ahead.
No, just the amount of destruction that many outdoor cats in one location causes is unreal.
And I've also talked to many of the neighbors there, several on both sides of the property. They have not complained about the cats. And I do know that there are several pets that are outside mostly, but they do have owners. And it's not always one group of cats that are causing any sort of destruction. And I've also seen woodchucks going into the Little White Church. So I think it could be a combination of outdoor animals.
I don't think woodchucks can get up on the piano, but that's it's again, the issue is just we get complaints to the point where I don't know what we're going to do about it. Whether we make it so if a cat goes out of the owner's yard into someone else's yard and that person traps them, we can fine the owner to have it returned, something like that. We have to do something because it's not fair to the rest of the people in the village to have that many stray feral cats in one concentrated location. It's just not, it's too much.
And I can think of at least 5 cats in that area that do belong to residents.
How many cats do you think are in the colony at this point?
It's 15.
So 15 outdoor cats at one location. And we, like I said, we had a unbelievable time keeping them out of the Little White Church. They got in it repeatedly and did a lot of damage in there. And I can't imagine what they're doing in people's garages and gardens and yards and everything. So, you know, I appreciate what you've done, and I love animals too. And even PETA suggests that feral cats should be trapped and euthanized, which, you know, if you know PETA, they're about as animal friendly as that's their whole mission. And so I don't know what to do about this issue. I really don't. I'd take open to ideas from the board, I guess.
You said no new cats since 2020,
Correct,
so the population's decreasing.
correct.
I don't have any solutions. I know that there's more throughout the village, and so I think we might need to table this for another discussion. Yes.
There is a difference though between feral cats and cats that are owned by by people. Feral cats tend to not want to go near humans. Or I have 4 cats that are indoor, outdoor cats. They come inside, but they're not feral. I'm not saying that they don't cause problems. I'm just simply saying they're not feral, whereas feral don't have an owner. So maybe doing the trap, neuter and release program near the church that is being destroyed might be the option. And if they are neutered already and owned by somebody, then maybe talking to the owner about keeping the cat inside might be an option. But I have to say, having 4 cats that will not stay inside, if I start getting fined for it, I mean, then I'm gonna be sending it to the SPCA where they're gonna be overrun with cats because I have to choose between my animal and my house.
So, am I correct in understanding that the colony stays in this one location because that continues to be a source of food from a homeowner who lives there?
Yes,
Okay.
I supplement that, but the homeowner does let several of the cats into the home, and the homeowner does feed them and goes there once a day to check on them.
All I can say is people out there come up with some ideas to help us out, 'cause we're not the animal people. We need ideas. It's obviously an issue. You have a great plan, but I'm not sure that works for the rest of the village. So we need help. We don't have the answer. I mean, but it is a problem and people are not happy. So it has to be addressed. So we need help. So write us, call us, send an email.
I know,
Web pages, something. We need help.
I believe in village code, you're only allowed to have a small number of dogs at one location. So, I don't know why we should allow one person to have 15 outdoor cats. That just seems excessive. That and just the complaints, and if maybe I wouldn't believe the complaints if we didn't see the damage they did firsthand, but we are dealing with the damage they did firsthand. So I don't know what the solution is, but I'm not sure that just waiting for them to die, in 5 or 6 years is a viable solution.
May I interject a question?
Sure.
I was curious.
If you would just state, and I meant to say this before, if you would state your name.
Cheryl
helps with-
Barreto,
Thanks.
thank you. What proof do you have that the cats that did the damage at the church are from that particular colony? Or are you making an assumption?
I guess we're making an assumption based on the fact that they live almost right next to the church. And there's 15 of them. I
Other
mean,
cats also live on that particular area too, because I've seen them. It could be a neighbor's cat going into the little white church. So unless you have absolute proof, you're basing an assumption of what has happened.
Look, we're
That's
not
true.
trying to indict any cat.
That's
Okay.
good.
What we are trying to do is solve an issue, and
I
it's whether it's
understand.
feral, domestic, or otherwise. So it is not, so please don't take this as that we are going against what you're doing, okay? What we're trying to look is at the problem writ large for the entire village is this issue. So it's not, you know, we're not trying to go after the black and white calico that lives at whatever James Street. We're not. We're just trying to address the whole issue.
I'd like to work with facts rather than assumptions. And who's to say that this lady's cat couldn't be trapped and then taken away from her and euthanized?
If her
Yeah.
cat was trapped and it would go to the SPCA, and I'm sure she would say, I am missing my cat.
Exactly.
And they
Yeah.
don't, it's not like we just drop it off and the next morning, no pardon from the governor, it's gone. It's there for a while, okay? So, and that is partly too, where we were looking at this, would be a differentiator. And that a conscientious pet owner is gonna notice when their pet's missing and then go looking for it and be able to pick it up. And then we can know that this cat belongs to so-and-so.
Thank you.
And so that's the plan, is to trap them at the church and then take them to the SPCA. And if the owner's missing them, they can go get them, pay the bail and have their cat back. We're not gonna euthanize it right away. It's, be there for however long the SPCA normally keeps cats before they do that.
And if I can just add one last comment, I think everyone here has agreed that they're not experts in this, so that I would be happy to speak to some people and get some information from those who are experts on this. Seems like there should be some weigh-in from those individuals who are familiar with this.
We are always looking for the best policy.
Check,
Okay, so,
absolutely.
But we need a solution. And
yes.
that's period. We need a solution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, and I didn't catch your name, so if you would make,
Maria Barreto.
okay. I know you mentioned it before, but I.
That's fine.
All right.
Anyone else in the audience? Anyone else on?
I'm here with Elka, she's on the screen as well, so I'll take it, I'm just.
I think we have one more person online. Ilka?
Hi, I'm here.
Good. Go
All
ahead,
right.
please.
I didn't know if she wanted to go first. I
Oh,
was,
you go first.
no, I was sorry, I'm not there. I was delayed. I'm a flight attendant, so I didn't land in JFK till 4 a.m. So this stems back from May 23rd, I believe. I sent the mayor the details. I don't have it in front of me with the email that I sent him. I believe it was 23rd. I received a phone call from the village regarding my water consumption, and they just wanted to alert me that Monday, as a courtesy call, that I had used 9,000 gallons. And they were just checking to see if I had filled a pool, which I had not. To which I advised them, yeah, well, I know my neighbor has a daughter and they just got a pool recently, so I'm guessing they filled the pool on the weekend while I was away. So we chatted, of course, and she said, yeah, we filled our pool. But before I had a chance to talk to her, because she works over, during the day, I have a different schedule. I had called the village back and they had asked me, well, maybe the neighbor stole the water, or maybe my kids let them use my hose. And I said, no, none of these things happened. I was there that evening, and I saw the hose running from their house to the pool. Somebody came over to the house, I believe the next day, just to check the meter, see if the meter numbers match to the computer system. In your system, I was told to check my toilets if they were leaking. I was told that the 9,000 gallons was definitely coming from my house, which it wasn't. Otherwise, my house would be flooded if 9,000 gallons just went somewhere. So basically was then told that, by the gentleman who came to the house. I said, well, what do I do about the bill when the bill comes? Because it's going to be a major discrepancy. And he said, it shouldn't be that much more. So that's when we kind of came together to try and figure something out. And we went, what day did we go to the village office to talk to them together?
I believe it was the 4th. I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, we went down together just as a united front once we got our bills, because there was a pretty large discrepancy in our bills. So mine was, including the sewer, over $250, which in the 20 plus years that I've lived there, I've never had a bill that high. And I believe hers, including sewer, was somewhere around 150. There is another property in front of 52 Center Street, which belongs to John Barden, which we believe has a separate water meter, but something is amiss. Something is going on. I don't know if it's on the computer side. We're not quite sure. I know the gentleman came to my house today to try and look at the meter again, but I wasn't home. My son was home, but he, I guess, didn't want to do it with my son home. There was one other time I spoke to the village and they said, well, at 6:45, you use 70 gallons of water. And I said, we were all asleep. I don't know how I used 70 gallons of water. And that's again when they said, well, maybe you have a leak in your toilet, put some food dye in your tank. And I said, there's no leaks in my house. So we just we need to figure this out, because who knows how many months this has been going on, that there's been a discrepancy in our bills and that we've been crisscrossing somehow.
For the trustees, if you look in the back of your packet, you should have the reports.
So the first solution that we need to do is where Buzz goes down there and we check, we have you guys run water in each of the different houses and we check the computer to make sure that, we're seeing it, because it's the computers are real time. You can see the usage as it's happening, which is why we called to say there was a discrepancy. So if that shows that the meters are in the right spots, then more investigation has to be done at your house. And I'm not sure where that could be or anything like that, but this is not unusual. We get this pretty frequently. And I'm not really sure what the total number of gallons is that gets consumed by someone that has a leak or a leaky toilet, but it's probably right on par, but we can't really figure anything out until we do that first test with Buzz down there. And like I said, he'll have someone at the office that's able to look at the computers and make sure that the water usage is the same in each spot. At this point, I would be willing to, suggest to the board that we, waive the higher water bill, and set it back to what sort of the average has been for the last 6 months. And, anticipate the fact that we're working on this problem right now.
Okay.
That sounds reasonable to me.
I do have something to say. My name is Brooke Evans. I am her neighbor. I only spent, according to my bill, $58 on water. And if I filled up a pool and take a shower every day and do almost 2 loads of laundry, there's no way that I only used $58 worth of water.
Well, I looked at your bill today. When we haven't taken the pool credit off. So your bill was 164, your pool credit is only in sewer. So when you take the $50 off that we figured it out, your bill is actually exactly what we would figure. Because you normally average around 90, and then you would have a little bit more for adding the pool, so your bill would come down to 114. So that's actually accurate. And the person who specializes in it said it too.
That's a cheap water bill. I will hope
Yeah.
you're paying it.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
it's,
Yeah, that's the right thing.
So that's when you.
But I would just say a little bit more doesn't seem like, I mean, 9,000 gallons doesn't seem like a little bit more.
I didn't look at yours, I was just solely talking about hers, because Buzz
No,
was
that's what
working
I
on
mean,
yours.
like, it takes 9,000, roughly that many gallons to fill a pool, or with whatever the capacity of that pool was, let's say.
The water, the
on
water
that tank.
actually bill is the difference. The difference of the $30 roughly is about correct for how many gallons. That's what we're saying. After the pool credit, because remember, we give a pool credit, so it, at the 164 would be correct. But we actually waive money off the sewer because the sewer, the pool water doesn't go down the sewer. So we take a credit off. Donna figured it out. It was 164, I believe, before. By taking off the sewer credit, because our expense is larger in the sewer than in the water. The sewer is $6.25 a gallon. I believe the water is $2.85. So that's the difference per thousand. So that's why 50 comes off from the sewer, and it brings you down to what the difference would be. And just filling around that, you take 9,000 times, I think it's 285, so let's take by 3, that's $27. So 90 plus 27 is 117. And your bill the time before was 86, it comes out to 114. We're right exactly where I'm estimating here. We're within a couple dollars.
Okay,
Okay.
So that's just yours. I didn't look at yours because Buzz was going.
yeah, no, it was just confusing because, you know, that I got a phone call to ask that my pool was filled, but she did not.
Yeah, her first question every time she calls is it a pool because of the time of year? And then it becomes, is it a leak? And then all we see in our office is that more water's used. We get a continuous consumption report every day. And since she specializes in it, Donna will check and call everybody. And at this time of year, our first question is always, is it a pool? But I had someone the other day that has a leak, and Donna's first question was a pool. And the person thought there was no leak, and after 2 days found it. So,
But, okay, so I mean, but I've called so many times that nobody's kind of done a running tally for a daily on my house. That just that one day was the 9,000 gallons, but since then it hasn't been. I guess I'm confused.
Tim, just a second. When you get back, you know, somebody can run this. There's actually, I know you can't see this.
Yeah, no, sorry.
Run a report.
yeah,
And I am looking at it from like March 18th through June 22nd. And
Okay.
except for 2 days, you are very, very consistent in the water usage, and it shows it. It's those 2 days, the 22nd, or correction, the 11th and the 13th, where it spikes significantly.
Okay.
So that is why it raised the red flag.
yeah. So normally if we were doing the credit right now, and I would have waited till they approved it, the time between that 11th and 13th, Donna would figure out how much that was, and that's where the credit would come from.
Okay.
So Hal, what was your recommendation?
That we roll the bill back to her 6 month average until, you know, we solve this.
I second that.
Same.
I've had several issues over the years in working with Donna and Buzz. I can assure you that we'll come to a reasonable solution and it'll be taken care of.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure.
But the calls we do is a courtesy call, because if somebody's using 9,000 gallons, we want to make sure it's not sprayed in the house, sprayed on the floor,
In their basement.
in the basement, make sure somebody's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And my plumber.
Well, I got one of
had
those, my water heater broke. You know, there's that much water in my cellar. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
save me some money.
And mine is completely dry. I mean, I had just had the plumber at the house the previous week. You know, so there was no
Okay.
issue as far as a leak in my house goes, so,
We'll get it done.
thank you.
Yep, thank you.
We got a motion, we got a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. All right, good. All right, anyone else for privilege of the floor? Once, twice, thrice. All right, moving on. New business. First up is to approve the reserve deposit allocations.
This is the departments that own the vehicles or the items sold at auction, so it goes back into their specific reserves.
Oh, okay, I don't have a problem with that. I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous.
Sure.
Next up, approving renewing the auction international contract.
That's who we've been using and it seems to be working, so I would make the motion that we renew.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, okay. Next up, approve adjustments to the emergency pool policy.
I
Is,
don't know.
Yeah, this is a great thing.
I make a motion that we approve the adjustments to the emergency pool policy as outlined in or highlighted in yellow.
A second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The standard day is on the stapled, Hal doesn't have it, that's why I was mentioning it, it's the next one. It's the
It's actually
stapled,
Kim-
this is the
Kim
paper
Hubbard's
I
the next
gave.
We have Kim Hubbard.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. So, yep, there's a proposal from Kim Hubbard to get into the Little White Church to do some video so that we have some before footage before we complete the project. I think it's a great idea. Really is. And it's actually a service to the village, if you ask me. So I think that we should support this.
I did discuss this with Joe Cortez from the Center for the Arts, and we'll have a proper schedule and planning as far as either letting Kim in or myself. So we'll work out an arrangement that so no keys will be given out. Just between Joe and I, we'll make sure that Kim has access.
Got it.
We don't need a motion, right? Do
We do, because it's.
we?
town
We do. I make the
of
motion
Scottsdale.
and we accept this proposal, given your caveats.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Next up is standard day resolution.
This is totally based on time studies and what New York State requirements. So this will be posted on the website for 30 days.
I don't have any problem with that. Do you need a motion or is just a statement? Okay, I'll make a motion. We do the standard day reporting as indicated here.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Next up, approve Anthony Parker's application to be a volunteer fireman.
I'll make a motion that we accept his application for volunteer firefighter.
I'll second, because I knew it was good.
Very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, unanimous. Very good.
If they run into fires, I run out. I love them.
All right. And next up is approving the resignation of Tim Maxon from the ZBA board.
I'll make that motion and we accept this resignation.
I'll second it, but I'd also like to thank Tim for his work
Oh,
on the
yeah.
ZBA board and the fact that he is, I think he's going over to recreation, if I'm correct, so.
He's done it for a lot of years, so.
He's moving from one board to another board to help the village, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Well, he won't be bored.
Yep.
all good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Next up, approve Adam Clifford as the new ZBA chair.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Adam Clifford as ZBA chair.
I don't know, but I'll second.
I
He's
do
good.
know, I'll join you.
Yeah.
You can second. then.
He's good
All
at
in
it.
favor?
I'm sure he is.
Aye.
All right, good. Approve appointing Mike Harder as an alternate on the planning board.
Oh, I know him. I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Next up is, we're back to talking about combining the planning and zoning boards into one. And again, I am a strong proponent of this, especially given the amount of time and effort and stress that goes into trying to get these meetings together and have quorums. Even with alternates, we continuously have to move or cancel or postpone meetings because we don't have quorums, especially in the summertime when people are taking a vacation. This is something that NICOM is in favor of, and I think that it's the right direction to move. Dante's working on he's drafting a law for us, which we can discuss more when he's finished. In the meantime, he did send one out earlier today, which would allow us to increase the number of alternates on each board, so that if we get a couple more alternates, we may have a little more luck in bringing these meetings together. But be open to listening to anybody's ideas on the combining of these two boards.
I know we've discussed it, Hal, and my viewpoint is I don't like the idea of combining the boards, because with the ZBA is the appellate clerk, so to speak.
Yeah, going back to the same court.
And if you go back to the same court, I have concerns about getting a fair trial, so to speak. But I saw Dante's thing about increasing the number of alternates. I think that's a great start, but again, it goes back to, and this is where I think it goes back to why we're looking at the joint boards, is because we're having difficulty getting members for some of these boards. And if we can't get the members, we may have no other option than to go to a joint board. Again, my personal preference would be to have two separate boards, because I think that's a better split. However, if we can't get people to volunteer and put it in the time commitment, we cannot, it's not fair to our residents to have to keep canceling or postponing something that shouldn't have to be.
Right.
So I guess we got the thing from Dante for the increased number of alternates, but until we get this fixed, we may be going down, like Hal said, to the joint board.
I like your idea personally. We gotta just have people. Zoning is so important to a village. If you don't have zoning, you could have mishmash, you have, all kinds of things. So zoning is one of the most important things a village can maintain and control. And so having a lot of different citizens involved, and not just say us as a board member, because we don't have the big vision that other people bring to the party. So we really need members to join up. But I agree, it's not fair to somebody trying to do a subdivision or an addition, and then they can't get a board meeting.
And they just have to wait.
And they gotta wait and wait, and then it costs them money, and we're here to help our taxpayers. So I guess I wanna see how this plays out a little bit before I go to one big, because I don't like that either.
Well, when we get the sample law from Dante, I think I'll ask Wade from NICOM to maybe join us via Zoom to explain it. I've sat through several sessions at NICOM on this, so that's why my perspective is the way it is. And I think I would like you guys to hear it right from the horse's mouth as to why it's something that he suggests that villages do.
Wade is I've sat in a couple of his things, and just want to assure the rest of Wade is very, very good at what he does.
Yep.
And
I agree.
Yep. And if Wade can't sell you on it, well, then we won't do it.
to me, it's more people friendly, more business friendly, and it gets things moving along quicker. I understand the thing about going to court twice.
Then there wouldn't be an appeal. It's just, that's it.
Well, we're the
Or
appeal
it's
here.
out, bam, it's done.
The board would be.
We're
Yeah,
the,
if you had the one, it's just done. There is no appeal.
So a little point of clarification, if you don't mind, on that, the zoning board of appeals is set up to appeal zoning decisions made by the code enforcement officer primarily. So Kevin will make a determination or issue an infraction or a violation. And those are what can get appealed to the zoning board of appeals. The zoning board of appeals is not really hearing planning board appeals or decisions made by the planning board. It doesn't start at the planning board and then get appealed up to the zoning board of appeals. It functions as a appeal on Kevin's decision, because Kevin is bound by what our zoning code says and what our village code says. He can't really make that's only 38 feet and we need 40 feet. So I'll let it go. He has to go by what our setbacks are and et cetera, as far as zoning is concerned. But the zoning board of appeals does have that ability to make that variance based on, a totality of the factors in that specific test, to say maybe that 38 feet setback in this particular instance is sufficient to, maintain tranquility in the village and make that decision. But it doesn't really bounce from the planning board to the ZBA like that. Just as a little bit of a clarification.
Okay, so what that said is that the board has two jobs. One is to do the zoning, and then it changes its hat because it's not contradicting itself. It does the appeals for that. So it's completely different kind of subject matter that they have control over. I don't have quite the problem with that now.
I'd still like to hear from Wade. If we
Yeah.
can get-
Absolutely now.
yeah, we can get Wade. I'm sure he would jump in.
We've only done this for what, 100 years or something?
Christy Spin at the state would do it too. He was the one I called and sent the stuff for the discussion on this, so.
What was his feeling on it?
He thought we should go to a joint one. In fact, he jumped at it and was all excited and ready to present tons of things. So
Okay.
Chris Eastman, he's from the Department of State. So I forwarded that to Dante. I don't know if anyone else got it at this point. I can send it back out or out.
Yeah, so maybe we'll have both come. But yeah, that's good. And thank you, Dante, for that clarification.
Yeah, thank you, Dante.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Discussion of leaves, branches, and other yard waste in the right of way. So that falls within our trash and garbage recycling penalties. Number 3, excess trash next to cans, and number 6, fines for disposal of ineligible items. We have a month in the spring and a month in the fall that we collect yard waste and leaves and branches, unless there's a storm. So residents that are putting them out there and not bringing them back in at this point in time are going to start getting fined. That's just the way it is. It's still a month. It's twice as long as it used to be, our collection period. And we have a compost site within the village that people can always bring things to. So this is not really a thing that's up for this debate or negotiation, but anything from the board on this?
I appreciate that the first warning is still a letter, because I know there are people who, even though the notices have now been sent out a few times, still don't understand that we won't be able to pick up brush and branches again until October.
Or their couch.
Right, and they're not, they're not looking to violate any of our rules by raking things to the side of the road, so I'm glad it starts with that and nothing more punitive.
Yes. I mean, we do have some residents who are know that they're defying the law in this and are intent on doing so.
You're making a point.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a expensive point to make. So any other comments or discussion? All right,
Stay
very
calm.
good.
Things are been good.
Let's see, next up. Yes,
Yeah, I asked for that because we were looking at, we've got some radar speed signs that are solar powered, but they require batteries. And I asked because that we find that somewhere in the budget. I didn't want to pull it from, because it comes from DPW and Phil hadn't budgeted for that. I didn't want to penalize him for something that we were trying to do. So I would just ask that we task Tanya to find about $400.
It's already in the next budget adjustment.
Oh, okay.
I guess we're done with that one then.
Yeah, just for the batteries. We have everything else. We've got the solar thing, we've got the sign, but because they actually got these so many years ago, I never installed them. We need to get the batteries for them.
Good, yep. So it sounds like that's all taken care of.
Good.
All right, approving budget adjustments.
Most of these are reclassing. The very bottom one you will see is the solar sign batteries. And then the cemetery building, you'll see we voted to take it out of reserves, but because that was done after the budget, we had to just put in the budget for it. So that, because we bought the building.
Right.
And the e-bike, we actually used, the ARPA funds that we used or voted on are in there. So the 10,000 for the Christmas or holiday decorations and the 49.69 for the e-bike are there that were voted on. The e-bike money was already drawn down. So.
And I know with the Christmas decorations, they're going to pick them out, and then I asked them to meet with Phil to make sure that what they picked out was something that we could easily install, take down, maintain, and it wasn't going to be, you know, too cumbersome or anything like that. So they're working on putting together a list, and then they should be reaching out to schedule a meeting. And then before they order, I told them, Tanya, that basically just to come down and talk to you and you would order them.
Okay, sounds good.
So
All
I'll make a motion that we accept the budget reports as outlined.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, very good. Let's see, recreation refunds.
Yeah, I see that all the refunds were requested prior to the start of the programs and before expenses. Zach says they're good to go, so I would like to approve the recreation refunds as listed.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous, good. And all right, the Smart Cities proposed contract, they're still, we've got money for 2 more cameras. And we talked about one at, I think, Kalale Field, and then the other one up at the cemetery. Now, these cameras have to go on streetlights if we're using the Smart Cities money. So they have to go on the streetlights that we replaced with LEDs. And so I really need, if we're going to do one at the cemetery, I need Chief Pittman and Jim to figure out where that might be and which direction it would be aiming. But that's all we're lacking at this point to be able to move forward and get these cameras and everything coming.
I didn't see one for the intersection of Albany and Maine. Did you, is there one there?
I think, is Chief still there?
No.
Oh,
I might have missed it. I was looking for it, but
is it on the, there's not one on the map?
no, it's not on, I didn't see it on the map. But I think that would be an important one.
There isn't the adjustments, the locations are here on this page. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's none on Albany and Maine.
I mean, I can get with Chief offline after this.
Yeah, that's fine. If so, maybe we move the cemetery we use the cemetery one there instead, and then assume that we're gonna need a different solution for the cemetery that's not part of this system.
There's 16,000 left, so you could probably get 3 lights looking at the cost of them. Just to throw that out there, because the grant reconciliation is there, and if we took the contract as is, there's 16,635.38 left. And most of the cameras, you could get 2 or 3.
Yeah. I can talk to them about that.
So it was, the one that Chief Pittman wanted was Newton Park, not, so it.
Right, Newton, it was Newton, yep, Newton Park. Yeah, and I did tell them Newton Park, so I guess to get this moving, I'd love for the board to approve me signing this contract based on adding these 3 cameras so that we can get them started, so we don't have to wait another month.
I'll make a motion that we allow the mayor to move forward with the contract, allowing for the 3 additional cameras.
I'll second. All yours.
Any discussion? Yeah, so this is the cameras and also the public Wi-Fi that's going to be, you know, on the green and all that, which I think is pretty great. And you know, it's all wrapped into the project already, and with a $60,000 grant for it, so that's pretty awesome. So, all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Very good. All right, let's see. Next up is Dante. Dante, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything else besides the discussion we just had, so I'm all set.
Excellent. All right, board members, we'll go around the room starting with Elizabeth. Do you have anything?
I don't have anything extra tonight, thank you.
All right, Kevin.
I see we got the hayfield at the gas station mowed. How did that come about?
The DPW was told to do it, we billed the owner, and if they don't pay, then we end up re-levying it. So it's 75 for any mowing, or our payroll time, whichever is more.
So we will continue to do it.
As long as Kevin sends the letter first and then tells us.
Okay.
So.
Same with the 720, or yeah, did the same thing.
All right, super. I'm so good. The only other thing I have is, we had the privilege, my wife and family and my business, to be given the key to the village. I would love to thank anybody that was involved with that. It's, you know, it's a great feeling. And to be associated in the same breath with Frog, I can't say enough. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
You deserve it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Pat.
So sat in for the portion of the town meeting, and Kevin Fitch gave his information from the county legislature. The state of the county address is posted online for those that are interested. They're talking about having an agreement to move the city court into the county office building. Dissolving the county treasurer position will be on the November ballot. They're looking at going back to looking at some of the shared services, and we'll have some of this discussion offline with the county doing tax collecting, or with cutting a check to the municipality. They're looking at that just as a discussion at this point in time. Redistricting, there are 2 new co-chairs. It's Kelly Preston and Kathy Bischoff. And May 2023 is when they've given for the new deadline for them to have that done. Possible move to a charter county. I have no idea what that is, but they said they're gonna have a presentation on it. Al, do you know what that is?
Yeah, it's just the method of governing that they use. I couldn't tell you the exact specifics though.
Okay, well, they said more will come to the municipalities to be determined. He wanted to emphasize that Air Fest and Pumpkin Fest are both back, which is good. And for those that saw today's paper, you saw that the Apex Cooper Tool Brown site is being worked on. The city can take the material to the dump at no charge right now. The county will be recouped when the property sells. So, and that's all I have.
All right. Edward,
Oh,
You wanna talk about it?
well,
Or you want me?
no, I'll talk about it. We have an issue at the cemetery which needs remediation, and I think we should allot some funds to take care of that. I would like to allot
15K.
15K and as a start to see. Do you think that's good, Hal?
I hope so.
It can be less, but you don't wanna have them start
Yeah.
and finish.
So we
Yeah.
will have to take that from reserves and we'll
Someplace.
have to have a public hearing at the next board meeting to get the money out.
Okay,
I just happen to have that,
Okay.
so.
okay, no, I think we should do that.
All right,
And you know what I'm talking
I'm
about?
not exactly sure, fill me in.
go ahead.
Oh, there was some executive discussion about it
Yeah.
as well. So,
Further discussion will have to go into executive.
That's fine. I'm good with it.
It's sensitive.
All right, that's all I have.
I have, one thing, I guess I'm disappointed, but I'm not too disappointed. I don't wanna, overburden anybody, but I sure would like to see the river trail put into the CFA this year at least. And I understand that we're so frazzled and we're overworked and we don't wanna do any CFAs at all, which just kind of blows me away a little bit.
it's actually-
Because we're supposed to solve problems here as trustees and get help where help's needed. And, I wasn't asked for figuring out how to do help. But anyhow, we turned in the request for appropriations, earmarks, we're hoping, but it may not happen. It's only at 75%. The state, we have asked for the river trail monies before. We've got 4 extra points given because we've started the LRIP program. We'll get 6 more once it gets approved in another year. Hey, it just keeps it on the radar with that DOD or the Department of State. So I would like to see it, at least just turn in what we turned in for earmarks for the CFA on at least that one only, if we can. We got 2 weeks to do it, over.
For clarification, the CFA water tank application will be in, also a Durkee playground rehab update application will be as well. Also resubmitting applications from last year, both for comprehensive plan and actually the little White Church Community Center.
Oh, that's great.
So
I
those
thought
4
we were gonna
applications
do
are
it.
going in.
Is there a possibility to take what we did for earmarks and add the river trail into that?
I would say there's a possibility, yes. I'll take a
Yeah,
take a look at it.
Now, do the best you can. If you can't, so be it. Not gonna jump on my sword over
If
it.
need be, do we wanna pay Toma, just as
They're-
people are here?
We're already
Okay, then yeah.
on the hook for a lot of things already.
All right, done.
All right. Do we need to go to executive session? We do need to go to executive session. I know that, to talk about contract issue. But before that, we'll take questions from the media. John or Eddie? You guys have anything?
Nothing here. Thank you.
All right. And Eddie said,
Oh,
We have one here.
we have one here too, Al.
oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I forgot your name.
can wait, it's Kevin.
Kevin, sorry, yeah, we haven't.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, sorry, I just don't know, what is the smart cities? I don't understand what that is that just cameras or what are the cameras for? I'm sorry, I just don't know what that is.
That's Smart Cities is a program through the New York well, it's actually through New York State, but it's using the technology that we have on our new LED lights because the lights have connectors where you can put in, things that cameras, they can put in things like wireless hotspots, which we're putting in. They can put in things like, sound detectors or gunshot detect. You can put in all sorts of different things. And there was a big grant that basically, if the village put in 40,000, we would get a $60,000 grant. So for 40,000, we got $100,000 worth of technology, which included a lot of cameras, which we need. And, for instance, we had that hit and run in the village year before last. The woman was severely injured on Albany Street, and we never were able to catch the person because we had no cameras to be able to identify the vehicle. So we're putting in some more cameras, and then we're also doing free wireless internet, which will sort of encompass from the town hall down to the Center for the Arts and the Village Green. And that'll allow, people that are visiting the village to use it. And also, there's a lot of kids that go to our schools that don't have internet access or good enough internet access where they live, if they live outside, to be able to do their homework. And, they have to come down and sit on the steps of the library or something like that. This will give them another place to come and do work.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else, Kevin?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
All right. Anything else? All right.
Motion that we go into executive session per New York State Public Officers Law, Article 7, Section 105.
All in favor?